And we are back again. This one's going to be a nice segment regarding our beloved Broncos and state of affairs that's currently going on. David, why don't you go and introduce us?
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Uncommon Man podcast. I'm your host, David. This is Mike. So, just as Mike stated, this is going to be a longer segment on just the state of affairs in Denver. I think is probably time for us to kind of talk about it, kind of talk about the direction of the team and where it's going. Again, we've lost another starter to our team due to a dumb decision. We made a video about it earlier, so you'll be able to see that. It's just a short snippet video on our thoughts about Melvin Gordon and his DUI. And so, yeah, so we're just going to rap about the Denver Broncos and, we're just kind of touch on state of affairs.
Yeah, so let's start by the optimistic approach. And the optimistic approach for me is that we're at least going to be guaranteed a high draft spot. I'm optimistic about that.
I mean, hey, can't knock that. All right, so when we talk about the draft, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen, way too early mock drafts and kind of worrying about where the Denver Broncos and kind of where we fall. And me and Mike are on the opinion that yes, Denver Broncos will have a high draft pick. I just do not see the season going well for us. So I'm gonna kind of give y'all, as far as what I've seen today and what's been put out there as far as the draft order. Giants number 1, ATL number 2, Jets 3. So then we're going to go into Washington, Minnesota, Jacksonville, Houston, Chargers, Detroit, and it's going to wrap at Denver at 10. Honestly, in my personal opinion, I don't believe that we'll be picking at 10 with the Chargers and Houston and even Jacksonville in front of us. The top 5, yes, I agree to where their position is, but I see Denver kind of sliding up that draft board just a little bit more as far as the season going on. I do think the Chargers finished better than Denver, foreseeing any kind of, massive injuries or anything like that they may, take on their team.
Yeah, I got to be honest, man. I was optimistic coming into the season. We both discussed what the floor and ceiling was for the Broncos, and it was all predicated on whether or not Drew Lock would stay healthy.
Correct.
And I was real enthusiastic. Look forward to seeing what he had this season. The first game, I wasn't overly impressed with. I thought he did okay. The second game, he didn't even make it through a quarter, and the guy's already on injured reserve. So if this is the future of the franchise, yeah, maybe the offensive line wasn't exactly to our liking. But now, in my opinion, he's battling completely uphill to not be replaced next season. So
yeah, I'm not, and me and Mike, we kind of differ on this. I'm not off the Drew Lock train yet at this point, but I do think that it's kind of cause for concern because again, first game of the season, man, the game that he got hurt. I mean, he was playing, man. Then he got hurt. But if it's anything like it was last year, after the injury, he came back 4-1. Is he going to pull the rabbit at the ass again? Who knows on that one. But with him under the center again, we should see the offense move and progress a little bit better. But then also at the same time, you play to your strengths. You got to unleash Drew Lock at some point. I'm kind of getting sick of us kind of babying him, and not just let him go out there and just sling it and just let him play football. That's a lot of what I've been seeing, especially with the first 2 games. It was just a lot of him being under constraint and just not letting him air the ball out. And him in comparison to another rookie quarterback for the Chargers, Justin Herbert. Again, we've all heard his name. He was on the draft radar for the Broncos. And if you look at what he's doing this season, I mean, that kid is out there. He's playing football. He's airing the ball out, and he's having fun. I think we need to take the same approach to, in dealing with Drew Lock as well. Let him go out there, unleash him. You don't know what you have in the guy until you just let him just go out there and just play. Yeah, he's going to F up. I think we've already established that. He's even said that as a gunslinger, he's going to throw picks. But then he's going to go out there. He's going to keep trying. He's going to sling the ball around the yard.
Well, and to his credit on that stat, dude, he's done a damn good job of not turning the ball over. But at times, I feel like he's gotten overly conservative, which is outside of his normal realm of gameplay. Because I mean, he processes the field well. You can tell he knows what he's doing, and he likes what he understands and will throw the football away and understands what he's saying. But the biggest deal with him is the fact that, I mean, he just, if he keeps getting injured, dude, he's gonna break down before he even makes it to season 4. So, I mean, I have all the faith in the world in the guy if he can just stay healthy. But I mean, hell, like I said, last year he didn't even make it through preseason. Bam, IR for 8 weeks. This year's a little bit different. They would have had to, if they had IR'd him in week 3 or week 2 under normal circumstances, he would have been out again until the last, 5 or 6 games of the season. So it's just frustrating to see that. So luckily that isn't the case. And I am cautiously optimistic that he's going to at least have a decent game against Belichick. It's going to be tough coming back. But, So in that regard, I would say that Drew Lock has that advantage over Herbert. But Herbert, man, he has really shown that he knows how to throw a football.
Oh yeah, I mean that dude has been airing that rock out, and you made a good, you made a good analysis, and you said conservative. Honestly, I mean, I feel the same way that, Drew Lock has been playing extremely conservative. I don't know if that's because of Vic Fangio. I don't know if that was because of Pat Shermer. And, I don't know if that was because of the offensive coordinator last season, which, I mean, we kind of know Rich Cangarillo, he was basically playing not to lose his job, and he ended up losing it anyway. But, I mean, again, you got to, just let the kid play. Go out there, let them play, let them air the ball out, and again, see what you got. Again, as Broncos fans, we don't know what we have in Drew Lock. We think we have a leader. We think we have the face of the franchise, but I mean, yet again, second season, we're still left with a bunch of question marks.
Right, exactly. So, but yeah, kudos to Herbert. The Chargers are the Chargers, and the Chargers are going to do Chargers things, which is most likely end up squandering this guy's career as well. So he's going to end up most likely, with him being a mobile quarterback and the underlying circumstances of that team, he's going to end up injured.
It's bound to happen at some point. So let's talk about the injuries that we have and who's on IR and who's kind of coming back from IR.
Yeah, so this is why I absolutely don't think that we have a shot at anywhere above the top 10 in the draft. I'm sorry, below top 10 would be the correct vernacular. So right now we have Von Miller, AJ Bouye, who was back at practice, so albeit limited. So he may be back in the next couple of weeks. That is at least optimistic. So that is a good sign. We've got Jarrell Casey. He's on IR. That was a short-lived dream. Elijah Wilkinson wasn't really much of a loss anyways. I think Dotson stepped up and performed pretty admirably. Mark Barron, that was a complete waste. Cortland Sutton, that one hurt. DeMarcus Walker, see you later. Have a great time somewhere else after the season. Draymond Jones, that hurts. Austin Carlitro, that was a waste. Justin Sternad, kind of expected. He had an injury history before even getting drafted, which we seem to have a tendency to do that in the later rounds. Mm-hmm. Austin Fort, whatever. Yeah. So, and then now Levante Bellamy is on injured reserve, and we just lost our starting running back. So,
yeah. Yay! So yes, I think in other words, shit ain't looking bright for the Denver Broncos. Yes, a few of those people will come back. AJ Bouye, he will make a return. I think Draymond Jones, he'll make his return too. But other than that, some of these guys, I mean, they were out on season-ending injuries. So right. Again, that hurts. We was already kind of thin at some positions like inside linebacker. They brought in Mark Barron and Carlitro thinking that they will kind of bolster that room. Those guys just been absolute waste. And, and then we've already talked about the running back situation too. So I mean, dude, I'm just not feeling, very confident in the roster as a whole anymore.
Yeah, this is worst case scenario, dude. The whole team is broken. So I mean, they've basically the ones that were able to endure are the really young characters, but all the veterans, they're all broken,
Mm-hmm.
they're all busted up. So I don't know. I guess that on a positive note, the offensive line is performing admirably. They're still doing really well. Swapping out with Dotson for Wilkinson, putting him on IR, that seemed to at least helped against the Jets. Take that for what it's worth. But
Yeah,
either way, I mean, turned into a
definitely
win.
a inferior defense there. So
Yeah, but
who knows?
yeah, but we had a kid who basically just got called up off the practice roster and ended up taking us the distance. So that was impressive. Granted, at this point in time, Boise State could take Adam Gase's Jets to task, but like, I mean, it's still nice that the Broncos ended up not losing that game. So
Yeah, which it was looking kind of bleak for a minute, but so rough. Okay, so question. So we mentioned the draft. Okay, right now as the roster sits with all the injuries, people potentially not being here again next year because let's face it, a lot of people that we brought in this past off season, they can pretty much be one and done. Where are the most impacted need on the team that you feel?
I think it's all going to come down to Drew Lock, bro. I really think it's going to come down to Drew Lock. So I think the offensive line's pretty stout. Um, could we use a right tackle? Yeah, but there isn't really great right tackles right now in the draft. There's a couple of
Mm-hmm.
pretty solid ones, but there's not like any great ones. And everybody that keeps saying we need to take this kid out of Oregon, it's like, dude, he's a left tackle. And I'm sorry, but Garrett Bowles has been playing fantastic. He's been grading out as one of the top left tackles in the NFL since the season started. And ever since Drew Lock took over last year, something seemed to have clicked with him, and he's just been performing out of his mind. So I honestly feel like if I had gun to my head, I had two contracts on the table, and I was sitting there looking, going, all right, well, who am I extending for the future between Justin Simmons and Garrett Bowles? I'm giving the contract to Bowles at this point, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So right tackle's a need. I think there's a couple pretty solid quarterback options that are coming up in the draft if things worst case scenario end up happening. The other thing that we definitely need at some point in time, dude, we have to draft an inside linebacker. We have to do that. AJ Johnson
And
was
I think early on too. Early on, we need to draft one.
right. AJ Johnson was a gem, and we got him just because of some wild circumstances. But we don't have squad otherwise, dude. And for a division that impresses upon all the tight ends that we have, Hunter Henry, Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, like those are all the only real receiving problem children in our division, and we can't cover them. And there's just at a certain point in time, it's inexcusable. So that would be a top priority for me as well. What about yourself?
I think at some point, you have to go for a abnormal character on defense at some point. And what I mean is like a freak of nature, one of the top blue chip players on defense, whether if that's inside linebacker, corner, safety, something. Okay. So offensive side of the ball, outside of a right tackle, that's the only place that I feel like that we're just extremely lacking. But I think that we can get a developmental right tackle somewhere in the draft, maybe in, third to fourth round, that, at some point the guy can be a really developmental piece and he can potentially come in maybe year two, maybe later year one, and just be a benefit. But I think where we're lacking, and this is just something that John Elway just has not addressed in years, I think we need a stud blue chip off ball linebacker. There's a lot of good ones in this draft. The way it's looking, I think we're going to be pretty high, and I think we should be in play for Michael Pearson out of Penn State. I mean, that dude is a freak of nature.
And he's been connected to us a few times too.
Yeah, and I mean, I think with that guy on your defense next to AJ Johnson, I mean, you've already elevated your defense to high standards right there. Just adding that guy in there. That's the only kind of pick right there. I mean, as far as number one, I think the safety position needs to be addressed because with this whole Justice Simmons thing, I'm not in favor of paying this kid $15 million a year.
No,
I'm just not. And I think if he's one of those type of players, if he doesn't get his way, he's going to kick, he's going to scream, he's going to hold out, he's going to want to be traded. And I mean, hey, I'm not. This may not be popular opinion. I'm fine if he walks. Honestly, I'm fine if he walks because I haven't seen anything from Justice Simmons that justifies me paying him $15 million a year or 12. I mean, well, not 12, but you're talking about $14, $15 million a year. No, I'm just not seeing it. I'm just no. Yeah, so I think maybe a corner or a safety after that, or hell, maybe in free agency. We pick up a stud cornerback or safety. Just go ahead and get it over with.
I agree, buddy. So, all right, well, that pretty much just wraps up this segment. So we appreciate all you guys' time. I know a lot of it's jury business right now. We don't like it any more than you guys do. But at the same time, as with everything, the clouds will part and the sun will come out at some point in time. The Broncos I think that they're going to rack up another couple wins. I do have faith in Drew Lock doing that. The biggest thing that I want to see this year is I want to see the offense start moving the football. Vic Fangio's defense has performed as advertised every step of the way, done what they need to do. The problem with it is they keep doing exactly what our offense has done for the last 5 years, man, which is as soon as they get the ball back, 3 now. Oh, look, 2 first downs and punt. It's like, if I was on the defense, I'd quit too. I was like, dude, you guys aren't doing shit. So why am I out here? I'm out here killing myself and ruining my stats and lower my chance of going to the Pro Bowl for the simple fact that you guys can't put it together and figure out how to get past the first down marker. So
our offense has to be able to put up more than 17 points a game. We're not going to beat anybody. We're not making deep playoff runs. We're not contending for a Super Bowl if we don't put up more than 17 points a game. I really don't know what our average is right now. The Jets game kind of boosted up our average a little bit, but I mean, hey, let's be honest here. For the last couple years, we average a very low number on offense. Again, that doesn't take us anywhere. So I want to see us get to 24, 27 points a game average. That's the direction our offense should be going.
Right, which is why they brought Shermer in the first place, was to alleviate the staleness of this team. And it's been the exact same MO, dude. We're doing these little 6-yard outlet passes, wheel routes and shit like that to the running back. And all the linebackers have to do is just to adjust for that. We run the ball 2 or 3 times. That obviously isn't going anywhere. If we can get a little toss out of the backfield, that's cute. But there's just no shots downfield, dude. All the teams that put up big numbers, you look at Deshaun Watson and the Texans. When they put up big numbers, it's because they're taking shots down the field. Not necessarily because they need to get yards that way, but because of the fact it opens the defense up. It holds them accountable. So if you're just playing conservative football like we did last year, it's just another recipe for disaster this season, man. So with Drew Lock coming back, that's what I want to see. I was impressed during the Jets game, which is weird. That it just seemed like Shermer had nothing to lose at that point in time. So he was all of a sudden letting this third-string quarterback he started flaring out the football. It's like, well, where the hell has that been for the last couple games? Like
Absolutely.
Jeff Driscoll stinks. Nobody's arguing that. We hated that pickup. But now you got the third string in there, and you're just letting them go out and play football. And look at what the team is doing, even with limited resources due to injuries. Like, that's what it is, the Jets, but it's still the plays that they were making was mulching specific players that you need to be beating on the offense in order to keep the offense progressing down the field and putting up points. So it blows my mind. That's the number one thing I want to see when Locke comes back is they actually start unleashing this guy's arm.
Yeah, agree. And I think that right there, if they do it, then we could see this offense turn around. All right, everybody, that's going to be the wrap on our, Denver Broncos talk, just the state of affairs in Denver. Again, everybody, like, share, subscribe, drop us a comment on where you think the Denver Broncos are going, and We'll catch you later.
Yes, absolutely. Like, share, subscribe. I know it's hacky, it's cliche, but at the same time, it helps the growth rate of us and what we're doing, and it allows us to be in the driver's seat of bringing you guys better content for whatever's going on. And even more so, it gives you guys more of an opportunity to take shots at us for dumb takes that we have, because I know we have a lot of them. So, but otherwise, you guys enjoy. It's been another episode of
the Uncommon Man Podcast.
You guys enjoy. Take care.